been on Peacock recently, you may have noticed a new movie called Song Sung Blue. If your parents are of a certain era and musical taste, you may recognize that as a Neil Diamond song. My family loves music biopics. Bohemian Rhapsody is like my parents' favorite movie, and we all saw Rocket Man in theaters together on like opening night. So when we saw this, we were like, awesome, let's learn about Neil Diamond's life. And we saw the hair, and we were like, that wig isn't that great, but maybe they're on like a low budget and they spent it all on these two big name stars. I quickly looked at the Wikipedia biographical musical drama film. It showed that Hugh Jackman is playing a guy named Mike. I'm like, oh, how interesting. Neil Diamond's real name must be Mike. I guess it really is true that everybody famous did change the name for showbiz. Before this was out on Peacock, 2 weeks ago, my family and I had a family movie night. I had no idea that I was going to be streaming on Peacock, so I spent $20 to rent it on video on demand. I'm like, this is gonna be my parents' new favorite movie, and I'm gonna learn a lot about Neil Diamond as well. My father's telling me, oh, he has such an interesting story. Did you know his father was a rabbi? I'm like, no, that's a pretty interesting backstory, Dad. I can't wait to learn who this lady is to him. And so we put on the movie, and it starts kind of like Rocket Man, our protagonist in a meeting for substance dependency. The musical biopic cliches. And then they show him performing at an impersonator's show. I'm like, oh, is this like one of those things where Charlie Chaplin impersonated himself? Is Neil Diamond impersonating himself? That's hilarious. And then he even said I am the real Neil Diamond. Oh, that's so funny. The impersonators don't believe that the real Neil Diamond would show up to a show. And then that scene ends. I'm like, why didn't he reveal that he was the real Neil? That's so weird. Time periods weren't matching up because it seemed like it was happening in the 90s, and I thought that Neil Diamond was from before then. But I'm like, oh, they must be traveling through time or something, or maybe it's just because Hugh Jackman is a certain age, they couldn't de-age him enough. We're all laughing it must be really low budget. I'm trying to give this every benefit of the doubt and try to do mental gymnastics of what is going on. And my father's like, I'm pretty sure he's an impersonator. That's not the real Neil Diamond. I'm like, well, obviously, Dad, that's Hugh Jackman. And he's like, no, I think that he's playing an impersonator in the movie. I'm like, how would that make any sense? And I thought that also because, when we watch other shows and they do time jumps, my father's always like, wait, are we in the future or now? I thought he was doing that. Oh, it's time jumps, Dad. We'll get into it. Now we're 20 minutes into the movie. And they're introducing Kate Hudson's kid, and Hugh Jackman apparently has a teenage kid. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not a movie about Neil Diamond. I will never know about his upbringing now, but I will know about the guy who impersonated Neil Diamond. That's exactly what this movie was about. It was about this couple who performed. It was a very, very, very different movie than we expected. I mean, by the time Pearl Jam came out, we were like, what are we watching? Oh, if you are a music biopic fan, and you see this and think that you're going to learn all about Neil Diamond, I'm sorry to break the news to you. But can you blame us? Nothing on this poster would make you think that it wasn't about Neil, right? Maybe I just don't know enough about Neil to know that I don't know. I don't know if this is one of those marketing things where they show the trailers of movies and don't let you know that they're musical. Was this the kind of thing where they wanted us to think that was about Neil and then